I have zero sympathy for Cubans that voted for that delinquent motherfucker. Y'all are now facing the consequences of your own actions because of your pure fucking ignorance. A lot of the Cubans that came here from the island and decided to support that motherfucker, that were on humanitarian parole or various other immigration programs to try and stay in this country, are now crying and suffering the fucking consequences of their own stupid fucking motherfucking actions. I just watched 3 back-to-back interviews with different Cubans that came from the island that had some type of application in with immigration and were deported back to Cuba, and they were supporters of the rapist, crying on camera.
Mi gente, I haven't done one of these in a while. Between the Cuban Adjustment Act and then when they started, when they took away their refugee status, I came on here and I talked about it again, and I kind of make fun of them. But anyway, here's another one for the record. Cuban Americans take front and fucking center. Cubans for Trump. Front and fucking center. Let's talk about it, because I know you don't want to talk about it now, right? Now you're avoiding me at all fucking costs, right? And I think it's funny, but in the last fucking week, this administration has gone after you super hard.
Family, when you see the rate at which many Maga voters are taking to their social media platforms to just share their regret for voting Donald Trump, you'd notice that there is something really serious about this government. And it would also dawn to you that most of these MAGA voters voted in Donald Trump because they knew that they'll be protecting something within their communities. And a good example is the Cuban Miami voters. Most of them voted Donald Trump because they knew that they'll be in the umbrella of Donald Trump. They knew that Donald Trump will maintain their refugee status, in America. And recently Donald Trump revoked the refugee status, and most Cubans are facing mass deportations, and those who have still not yet been arrested by ICE officials are risking to be raided. And family, right now, when you go in most social media platforms, what you notice is, I regret voting for Donald Trump. That is the constant phrase. If you put that on your Instagram or on your TikTok, you'll see many videos of Cubans crying, saying they regret their vote, and all the other MAGAs. So guys, I want you to watch the series of videos that I've compiled. Once they're done, we will get back and do a critical analysis about the same. Let's watch this together, family.
Go after Cubans. We are not the bad people. I vote Trump because he wants to help the people, but this is not right.
He wants to keep helping Latinos in the U.S. Let's do things the right way, and let's keep growing. Let's keep growing as a family, and let's make America great again.
Necesitamos a Trump. Let's make America great again.
A lot of Latinos, we stand strong next to President Trump. Let's make America great again. Let's go.
I'm just happy we in good hands. I know this 4 years is going to be one hell of a run. I know he's going to do a lot of great things for the whole Spanish community. Especially, we're going to make America great again.
Listen, before we get into this video, because this is going to be a long, juicy video, I genuinely want to know, how much did they pay them to go on this stage and say this? Like how much are you getting paid? Blink if you're in trouble. I say this, I joke, whatever the case is, but what's going on in the country right now compared to what these people voted for, it doesn't connect to me. But maybe I'm just disconnected or something. Y'all can let me know in the comment section below.
Yeah.
I'm glad I gave that vote to Mr. Trump, and me and Anuel AA are here supporting. Que viva Puerto Rico, and let's make America great again.
Congratulations, President Trump.
We need you. We need you back, right?
Do you know who they are? Do you know who the hell they are? Come up here, just fast, fellas, come on. Because I don't know if these people know who the hell you are. But it's good for the Puerto Rican vote. Nikki Jam, do you know Nikki? She's hot.
Y'all heard him. It's good for the Puerto Rican vote, right? Like that's all that matters. As long as he wins, he's gonna do whatever it takes. That's the craziest thing. And they're willing to just stand up here and just, oh yeah, I'm a puppet. Come out here and vote for Trump. Because let's watch these videos. They're gonna blow your mind. This is crazy.
My fellow Americans, I owe you guys a big apology. I voted for Trump. I made a huge mistake, and I hope you guys have it in your heart to forgive me that I voted for that man. And I had a lot of hopes for that man. But the hopes are gone. When he started discriminating against minorities, American minorities here in the United States, we got a problem with that. Houston, yep, we sure do. When you violate American people's constitutional rights, we got a problem with that. He's not fit to be a president. And I apologize. I hope all of you guys have it in your heart to forgive me.
Listen, shout out to him for, coming out and saying it. But I have a genuine question. Like seeing this, because he came out finally and said that, this ain't what he wanted. But serious, like a purely genuine question for you. Why is it?
Mi gente, I haven't done one of these in a while. Between the Cuban Adjustment Act and then when they started, when they took away their refugee status, I came on here and I talked about it again and I kind of make fun of them. But anyway, here's another one for the record. Cuban Americans take front and fucking center. Cubans for Trump. Front and fucking center. Let's talk about it, because I know you don't want to talk about it now, right? Now you're avoiding me at all fucking costs, right? And I think it's funny, but in the last fucking week, this administration has gone after you super hard. Super hard. Even those that have been in the country for a fucking while are getting detained and being threatened to be fucking deported. And he is coming after you. There goes the fucking articles. Because I know you're going to say I'm lying, but I'm not lying. And if it hasn't happened to you yet, it's just a matter of fucking time. Once he revoked your refugee status for you, Haitians and Venezuelans, right? Now you don't have the protections and that your ass is voted for, right? Do you remember all the videos? Your votes, voy a votar por Donald Trump. Right? Remember that? Remember that? Remember how many of you came to my page to talk shit? Who's fucking laughing now? Who's fucking laughing now? Do you think this would have taught you a lesson for midterms? Do you think it's going to teach you a lesson for 2028? I fucking doubt it. I doubt it. But I hope it does. I told you so. Again, I warned you. Now, here's the funniest thing about this video. This is the guy they call El Funky, and I don't even know who the fuck he is. But as of a few days ago, he was being threatened to be deported. And now, I'm not sure how he got out of it. But look at him. Does he fucking even look like he would qualify to be in the United States under this fucking administration? I think not. He should have known better. But sure enough, I think because he thought he was famous, Trump was going to accept him. And what did he say at your own town hall meeting? I only want you for your vote. Now you see how that works, right? But if somebody knows El Funky, send it to him, right? Because I don't even know who the fuck he is. But good for your ass. Good for your ass. Maybe you'll wake up now. Maybe all of you will wake up now and stop being a part of that colorism that makes you think the color of your skin makes you better than the rest of us fucking Latinos. Who's laughing now? Cubans for Trump.
Being from Miami, I don't know how to feel about Cubans being in their find out era. Because they took over Miami, and it was to the point where you couldn't even find a job unless you spoke Spanish. And even if you spoke Spanish and you wasn't Cuban, you wasn't getting that job. And I give them a lot of credit, because before their family or friends would leave Cuba, they would already have a job, a car, and a place to stay by the time they reached Miami. Like, they really set up their people very, very well. Even had a wet foot, dry foot policy. Where they messed up at was thinking that they thought becoming a Republican was going to make them turn. And the whole time they're speaking Spanish. And a majority of them didn't even bother to learn English, but yet they thought they were. And my main question is, what is the difference between Fidel Castro and 45? Until then, yo voy a votar azúcar. God bless America.
Well, ain't this funny? I just wanted to come on here and talk about the Hispanic community. I just wanted to come here and say to all the Latinos and Latinas, basically the Hispanic community, that I know y'all voted for Donald Trump. Y'all can hide it all y'all want. This video proves it. This video right here proves it. And that's why y'all rioting in LA, y'all rioting in Atlanta, y'all rioting all across the country, because y'all know y'all effed up. Y'all made a mistake. The problem is y'all not used to a president standing on business like Trump. And I want y'all to really recognize what ethnicity of people are performing in that video. It's not white, it's not black, it's not Asians, it's Hispanics. There's mostly Hispanics in this rally. I know Miami is Cubans. There's Cubans at this rally, but it's still Hispanic people. They're Hispanic people, y'all. What's even funnier is this video was 4 years ago. Y'all don't believe me? Look at this. 4 years ago. 4 years ago. This was in 2020 during performed at the Trump rally in Miami, November 1st. So this was before he came into office. Y'all Hispanics voted for him, and now y'all mad, y'all made a terrible mistake, and y'all causing riots. Y'all want to blame the Americans. Y'all want people to be on y'all sides when y'all voted for him. That's not our fault. Y'all voted for him, and now he's sending y'all back to where y'all came because y'all in this country illegally. Honestly, this video aged beautifully because this is just pie in y'all's face. This is actually just hilarious because I don't know what y'all expected, and then y'all want to get mad at the government. You want to get mad at Trump when he told y'all what he was gonna do. He told y'all.
I have zero sympathy for Cubans that voted for that delinquent motherfucker. Y'all are now facing the consequences of your own actions because of your pure fucking ignorance. A lot of the Cubans that came here from the island and decided to support that motherfucker, that were on humanitarian parole or various other immigration programs to try and stay in this country, are now crying and suffering the fucking consequences of their own stupid fucking motherfucking actions. I just watched 3 back-to-back interviews with different Cubans that came from the island that had some type of application in with immigration and were deported back to Cuba, and they were supporters of the rapist, crying on camera. One of them even has a disabled child and another little kid. The wife had to stay back, and he was deported back to Cuba. And they were staunch supporters of this delinquent piece of shit. I am Cuban. I was born in Cuba, but I consider myself to be Cuban American. I decided to educate myself from a very young age. Back in about 2004, when John Kerry was running for president, I already knew at that point that I was a Democrat because I aligned directly with those values, because I learned in political science and U.S. history classes in school what being a Democrat or aligning with those values was in comparison to conservative values. And mind you, my family were refugees from Cuba. My dad was a political prisoner, right? In Cuba. My whole family is conservative, Republican. But from a very young age, I decided to educate myself, to go to college, to do my own research. Even from the time I was a kid, even before going to college, I did my own research. And I always have. When you come from another country, and you decide to go from one dictatorship to another, and you decide to continue supporting the same bullshit, just instead of with a communist flavor, with a fascist flavor, then you are going to reap what you sow, and you are going to collect the fruits of the bullshit that you decided to vote for. Ahora ustedes están llorando porque están deportando a sus familiares, pero acuérdense que cada cual cosecha lo que siembra y recoge los frutos de lo que siembra. Todo en la vida tiene consecuencias, y el que no se quiere educar, el que no quiere ir a la universidad o estudiar la política de este país y instruirse, pagará sus propias consecuencias por su propia ignorancia.
Latinos for Trump, specifically Miami Cubans for Trump. Bring your ass. You bitches on my docket today. Y'all are the definition of political pygmies. You're so eager, like ready, willing, and fucking able to go from one dictator to the fucking next. Now, I know y'all not systematically accustomed to freedom, but trust me, it's a good thing. Now, when it comes to you white presenting Cubans, I can understand, whether it be you naturally look that way or, you got the work done. I can understand your delusion in terms of, having proximity to whiteness and thinking that you're going to get a seat at the table. And while you may get a seat, it is with the express understanding that the moment you act familiar, them envelopians gonna put you in your place quick, fast, and in a motherfucking hurry by letting you know that you're simply a guest. But again, you look the part, so I can understand. But it's you Celia Cruz looking motherfuckers that blow me. Have you niggas looked in a fucking mirror? Like, let's keep it a fucking Goya bean in this bitch. The closest you're getting to a seat at the table is looking at that motherfucker through the window while you cutting the grass. Like, it is what the fuck it is. But since y'all think y'all got it like that, let's try a little experiment. When ICE roll up to collect you niggas, Elian Gonzalez style, I want you to look them square in the face. And I want you to say these 5 words to them. I know black eye Cuban. And let me know how the fuck it goes. Send me a postcard with Fidel on the fucking front. And when they send you back home, I hope you can't take shit with you but your fucking MAGA merch. As a permanent reminder that the president you voted for is the same president that sent you fucking packing. For decades, we've been trying to give y'all a wake-up call. I bet now you niggas wish you would have picked up the phone.
But let's start with this stunning story first. Here is a Cuban American who voted for Trump and she now regrets her vote. Why? Because her husband was deported. Now she says she feels betrayed. Listen to her speak about it, and just a heads up, this is a digital translation so our audience can understand what she's saying. But check this out.
I feel completely betrayed, and I know that maybe they won't say it.
Distressed, desperate, and disappointed. That's how this Cuban mother, Lilian Paez, says she feels after her husband was deported by the administration of President Trump, whom she voted for.
I thought that maybe with the president's order, the ones who would leave would be the criminals, and those who had a clean record and so on would get an opportunity.
I mean, this was exactly what we warned about before the election. Everyone thought Trump will view them as, quote, one of the good ones, and that he's only going after criminals. We knew that wasn't true then, we know it's not true now. The polls are already showing the shifts in the Latino community. Remember, this was a group that Trump made big inroads with. Well, now that support is fading quickly. This is the May 2025 poll from Eki's research on Latinos, Trump, and immigration. It shows that Trump's approval rating is trending below his 2024 support. And get this, 15% of Latinos who voted for him in 2024 now disapprove of his performance in office. And of the former Biden voters who voted for Trump this time around, 51% of them now disapprove of his performance. All in all, just 36% of Latinos approve of Trump, with 60% disapproving. And Latino men are also shifting away from Trump. Latino men in this poll voted for Trump by a plus 11 margin in 2024. 54 to 43, but now that's basically flipped. 44% approve, 55% disapprove. And when you dig into the issues with Latinos, Trump's underwater on both the economy and immigration. And we're seeing across the board, people who voted for Trump reap what they sowed. Like in West Virginia, for example. Let's pull this up. They voted for Trump in West Virginia 70% to 28.1%. Let me repeat that. 70% to 28.1%. But coal miners have now lost black lung screenings after Trump slashed the worker safety agency responsible for them, the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health.
Do you guys remember this lady? Well, I'm trying not to laugh. This is her now.
It's been happening frequently at the 333 Miami Avenue Federal Court building. Janet Correa's husband was detained this week. According to her immigration lawyer, he has already been placed on expedite removal.
They voted for Donald Trump. Donald Trump deport. You heard that right, guys. Janet Correa, the famous Trump singing lady, has had her husband detained by ICE. And not only that, but he got put on expedited removal. They want him out of the US. They don't want him. But of course, We've been telling them this all along. They don't want you, bro. Also, do you remember the time I went viral because I told people to call ICE on Latinos for Trump and the family members of Latinos for Trump? It looks like it's happening, and I couldn't be happier. You reap what you sow, and I stand by what I say. But anyways, play silly games, get silly prizes. Let me know what you guys think.
Good afternoon. You know, MAGA Cubans happen to be the most miserable people on this planet. So I want you to recall this memory that happened in Miami not even a year ago. Remember that billboard that was talking ill about Donald Trump? Remember how the Cuban people lost their everlasting minds? I remember because I got a great payout from doing that video of Cubans losing their minds. Now, these MAGA Cubans were so upset about this anti-Trump billboard that they threatened to shut down the Palmetto. They were on every news station. They contacted their representatives, and eventually the billboard came down. Do you see any of that action occurring down in Miami right now when they see their people being taken away? Of course not. Do you hear any new jingles from the Cuban community talking about the immigration issue? Nope. They are still beholden to Papi Trump. This is why they're miserable creatures. And I hate that because we know that some of the Democratic and independent Cubans voted for Kamala. And they get penalized because the Cuban people as a whole voted for Donald Trump. And you guys are despicable. And you're not doing anything. You're not doing anything. Mexicans are over there in California fighting for their people. And you guys are doing nothing. As expected. I wish there was a way that you could turn all of this around. You guys are the worst. The worst.
I don't want to hear your cries. I don't want to hear your complaining. I don't want to hear your coulda, shoulda, wouldas. Because I don't feel no ways tired. I don't want to hear this is not what I voted for. This is exactly what you voted for. That man let you know time and time again that he don't fool up with black and brown people. And it's sad because you yearning so bad to have proximity to whiteness made you turn a blind eye to the disrespect, made you feel like you were bigger than the program, made you feel like all the insults that he spewed against your people didn't apply to you. So now y'all want to act shocked and appalled because he done called the National Guard, everybody and they mama, to scrape you and your family members off the floor of LA. No better for it.
So all the Cubans for Trump down in Florida and everywhere else. Trump just had the Supreme Court revoke your immunity. Thousands of you will now be deported, along with several other countries' immigrants. But Trump has literally, first on the list, Cubans. Cubans will be deported because he's taking away your protections that you had because you came from a terrible situation to come live here in the United States where it's wonderful, but you couldn't get away from your communist habits and everything. So you came over here to bring those communist habits and follow the orange crap stain. Yeah, he took them all away, babe. You better start packing your stuff because Cubans for Trump are now going to be Cubans for Castro's son? I don't know. Who's ruling that communist country now? Will it be better for you when you get back? Will he send you back on the same boats you built to get back over here? Because we got to save money. That's what Doge is for. We can't fly you back.
Y'all want to know what the fuck is ironic and what's really actually sick if you actually analyze it and think about it? That the Cubans that sing, I will vote, are the same ones that can thank him himself, Donald Trump, for deporting, statistically, in his first term, the most amount of Cubans from out of any U.S. president since the 1990s. This is an actual known fact and statistic. And isn't it ironic that it was a fucking Democrat, Lyndon B. Johnson, that in 1966 was the one to sign the Cuban Adjustment Act, allowing Cubans an easier and smoother route to get a green card here in the United States after being here for a year. And isn't it ironic that who they're singing about, Donald Trump, in his first term also in 2020, the amount of asylum approvals decreased all the way down to fucking 4% from previous years, which were about between 25 and 30%. Giving y'all some facts. These are facts. Isn't it ironic how Clinton, a fucking Democrat, was the one that enacted the wet foot, dry foot policy that allowed a fucking shit ton of them to come here and stay? And isn't it ironic that they don the flags, the chump flags, on their boats and in front of their houses in Hialeah, but this is the same dude, the same piece of shit rapist that cut staffing at the U.S. Embassy, making it exponentially harder for Cubans to get visas, and ended the Cuban family reunification program for them. And finally, in this present day and age, with what we're going through right now with these immigration raids in 2025, isn't it fucking ironic that they are still singing, "Ah, yeah, I will vote," but yet it's the Democrats that are still fucking fighting for them to fucking stay here. Meanwhile, a lot of their families and Cubans that have come fresh from Cuba are being rounded up in these ICE raids and taken away. And the only fucking people that are vouching for them and fighting for them strong and staying strong, fighting against these fucking criminals in this administration, are the actual fucking liberals and the Democrats that they so love to call comunista. Because again, as I have said in previous videos, they fail to fucking learn the system in this country, and they equate liberals and Democrats to communists for some fucking reason. Well, I know the fucking reason, because they refuse to fucking educate themselves, and in their brain, in their fucking mind, they're still living in Cuba, in the political system that they had in Cuba. No matter if they're in their 60s or 70s or 80s or 90s and shit like that, they refuse to fucking educate themselves and continue to equate liberal, Democrat, or anybody slightly either moderate or even left-leaning. They equate it automatically to communists because of the lack of education and just the pure fucking ignorance that's in the Cuban community. So meanwhile, the Democrats, even with all their flaws, because it's a heavily flawed political party in the United States regardless, they are still putting in the work and still fucking fighting for Latinos and for immigrant communities here in this country to stop this bullshit. Because the reality is that a lot of these raids and a lot of the bullshit that this administration is doing is unprecedented and has never been seen before on American soil, because of how dirty and nasty they're going about doing things. Not to mention, they are doing things so nasty and so wrong and so dirty that they are being sued left and fucking right, as they should. So Cubans, continue. If you want to keep living the way that you're doing and keep singing, I will vote for Donald Trump, keep doing what you're doing. But just know that y'all motherfuckers don't have a good reputation in the Latino community, because you keep supporting the same dictatorial bullshit that you and your families left Cuba for a better future. And you came here for a better future, to seek out a better future, and you're still doing the same fucking bullshit and repeating the same fucking mistakes that your previous fucking ancestors made. And that is why we are in this fucking mess. Please go fucking educate yourselves.
Family Cubans knew that Donald Trump, will support them after they did so much during the campaign period. We've seen Cubans sing, the famous song, "I will vote for Donald Trump," very famous song. Cubans went in large numbers and voted Donald Trump as the president of the United States of America. And right now they are regretting really, really hard, because they are facing mass deportations. Families are being broken. Dreams, are just getting lost. These dreams can never be fulfilled. Families are getting divided. Maga voters are crying left, right, and center in all social media platforms, especially the Cubans. The Latinas are regretting so much. They had an option, to choose the other candidate. One of the reasons that Donald Trump gave people in his campaign period was that he will ensure that there is mass deportations. The Cubans knew that if they supported Trump as refugees, they won't risk any of this deportation, but they did not know the devil that was yet to show his face after he was voted in as the president of the United States of America. From the videos, you see a woman cry, his husband is arrested. We saw the famous singer, of the I Will Vote for Donald Trump song. He also lost his husband through the ICE raids, and his husband is also being deported. These are people who are diehards. Trump is somebody that does not even appreciate the people who are diehard fans, the people that stood with him up to the presidency. He does not care. He wants to cut people outside America. The migrants and immigrants are yet to face more and more threats, more and more ICE raids. And that is what Cubans are risking right now. And most of them are saying that they do regret for voting in Donald Trump. Donald Trump has been one president that surprises Americans each and every day. Each and every day he comes up with policies. The other day we saw him say that there will be no birthright, for citizenship in America. He even used the Supreme Court, and they're actually approving it right now, that all Americans who are born in America, that would grant them, the status of being a citizen of America. If you're a son or a daughter of a migrant, if you're a daughter or a son to somebody, who was just a visitor during the time in America, you're not American. These are new laws, and these people who are born and achieved citizenship by birth are now risking also to be deported. And one of the biggest groups that have been affected are the Cubans, and Cubans are really crying for help. Cubans are really regretting, and many people are saying that it's time that they do not want to hear about the regrets. Many black Americans have come up and told Cubans and Latinas it's time that they stop saying that they actually regret. They knew what they were voting for. Let them now enjoy, the fruits of their votes, because they knew that this was not a nice man. They did not listen while they were being warned against voting in Donald Trump as the president of the United States of America. And this is becoming an anthem, more than the other one of I will vote for Donald Trump. Right now, the anthem, the chorus that is being sung in all corners of the 50 states of the United States of America is, I regret voting for Donald Trump. And that has been in the constant. Guys, I want you to let me know in the comment section down below, what policies by Donald Trump do you least enjoy? Which policies do you think that Donald Trump has just gone overboard? Comment down below. Let me know what you think about the video also, and about what the people in the video have explained in regards to the regrets they are having for voting Donald Trump. Fam, like this video so that it can be recommended to other YouTube users. And lastly, kindly do consider subscribing to the channel. We are currently on the road to 50,000 subscribers. And guys, I'd really appreciate if you all do consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.